sounds good. You tell me when.
You're recording.
Okay, thanks. Okay, welcome everyone. And Claire, are you with us now or not?
I'm sorry, I had somebody at my door.
Okay, no problem. So I've been nominated to chair the meeting. So here we go. So welcome everyone. So first of all, we have the approval of the agenda. So recommendation be it resolved that the Dunedin Community Center Board hereby approve the agenda dated the 16th of September 2020 as presented. So I need a mover and a seconder for that.
I'll move
Claire,
it.
did you?
I'll move
Okay,
it.
Donna. Okay. All right. And all those in favor, just holler out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I think that sounded like it was unanimous. Okay. Business arising from the minutes. So we've got 5.1, which was the merchandise logo.
Oh, sorry, just the approval of the minutes from March 11, if you don't mind, Doug.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there you go. Oh, first of all, disclosure of pecuniary interest in the nature thereof. Does anyone want to declare any conflict of interest? No?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, that's good. And if you do decide at some point during the meeting that you want to, then just jump in. Approval of the minutes, March 11th, 2020. And did everyone have a good chance to look at the minutes at all?
I think maybe we should change Mayor Dog Measure's name to Mayor Doug Measures.
I did see that and I made that change.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty good. Anyway, okay, yeah, let me go back and forth here. Hang on a second. I'm working with two screens here. Okay, so the approval of the minutes. So recommendation be it resolved that the Dunedin Community Center Board hereby approve the minutes dated March the 11th, 2020 as presented. So I need a mover and seconder for that.
I'll move it. Judy.
Okay. All right. And a seconder? Oh, Donna, did I hear you move?
Claire.
Okay. All right, Claire. And all those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous again. Good. God, we're moving right along here. We'll be out of here in no time. Business arising from the minutes, 5.1. So that was the merchandise and logo. So does anyone have an update on that, or was Jennifer looking after that? Was Jen looking after that?
I would say Jen's looking after it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think we need to have her in on a discussion about these logos, because I don't know about you, Claire. Donna and I have talked, but I'm still not 100% on board with this logo that they've come up with so far.
No, and she had talked about getting suggested a light gray or charcoal background. I think we have to see what logo colors or the logo is going to look at like on whatever background we pick, you know, rather than just the white.
Do you think we need the north and the west, like the longitude and latitudes on there?
I personally don't, but it does give you a good space to change things up if you wanted to, say, for instance, write, you know, a certain event like the Fisherman's Breakfast or something like that.
What do you mean? Put it something different in there than the north and the west? Yes.
Yes, yes. Like if you have it sort of, I don't know for sure, but I think that if the space is there for font for writing, that it would be easy to change it to, you know, something else. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because preferably I would prefer not to have that on there.
Yeah, I'm not crazy on that either.
Now, Donna Bayless mentioned all the lines. Like, she didn't understand why there's all these lines going through it. You know, when you look at the pictures, there's lines through everything. Yeah. It kind of takes away from the picture.
I had someone busy.
Yes.
Yeah, it does make it busy, and I don't know, like, I didn't know if we were going to go to colors or if we were just going to do it like as, you know, a black outline. you know, I don't know. I think that's something we have to have a whole big discussion with, and maybe have Ruth Ann there.
And maybe somehow see this printed out, maybe larger on a piece of paper or something than.
Yeah, and
You
like
know,
I
just-
say, I would like to have it on, I think we have to decide on what color
Mhm.
we're going for, because like if it is going to be like that light gray sweatpant type stuff, then, you know, a lot of the colors are going to look washed out on that, right?
And I think some people will choose the black,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
black hoodies.
Yes, see, I would go more either to a dark charcoal or a black,
Me too.
which means you'd have to change the color of the font.
I think we need more discussion on this before any order goes in.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah. So why don't we have a motion to that effect, saying that, or Kayla, do we even need a motion, or can we just sort of carry this over to the next meeting?
So what I've written for the minutes is that the board's discussed the proposed logo and would like to take some additional time to further edit prior to approving a completed design. So maybe
Yeah.
it would be best that the board present possible logo designs at the next meeting.
And
Okay.
possibly with the artist, with Ruth
Yeah.
Ann.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. And we don't need a motion on that then, do we?
No.
That's just, okay, that's good. So we'll carry the discussion over to the next meeting, and we'll try and get the artist in as well. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Good.
Sure.
Okay, I'll be honest with you, I haven't even seen the logo, but you know, so I was just sort of staying out of your discussion there. So okay, and so moving on, regarding the minutes there, I'm just looking at them from the last meeting. So has there been any issues with the waste management? Is that all cleared up now? I think they were, Judy was
Well,
going
I
to
think
talk-
it all fell
Yeah.
apart when COVID hit, because we've had and the hall being closed, that happened right after this meeting. So really, it only happened
Yeah.
maybe for 1 week. And then the
Okay.
hall's been closed ever since. So there's been no recycle or no garbage.
Okay, no, that's good. Well, that's fine. So that'll be something that we'll have to just sort of keep an eye on then, and once the hall gets reopened, and then have to monitor that. Just also looking at, just from my perspective, hold a second, I'm just looking here, facility assessment review. You put down, you guys mentioned dog measures. It's Dog McKechnie that I looked at here on the minutes.
Oh, really? Well, it's dog measures on ours.
Well, it says dog.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, that's so anyway. So regarding the facility assessment review, I just wanted to let you ladies know that during this COVID time, nothing has come in front of council. So like back in February or March and everything, you know, it was we were under the impression that Terry was going to bring a report to us, and we were going to have a workshop or discuss the facility assessment review and everything. But I suppose due to COVID and such, and a lot of the staff have had to pivot in their roles, and I know Terry certainly has. And so nothing, I don't think, from my perspective, I have not heard anything. I don't know if anything's been done on that, but certainly nothing has come in front of council. Kayla, do you know anything about that? Has Terry been working on that, do you know, or do you have any
Nothing to my
insight?
knowledge. I feel everything's been kind of halted due to the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So nothing else from the minutes then that I can see that we need to discuss today. So let me go back to my agenda here. 1 second. So financial report. Donna Hamill to provide a financial update to members. Any sort of update there, Donna?
Okay, the balance in the bank is $16,861.19. And our petty cash was $86.64. But Jen bought some tablecloths from somebody in Markdale, a business that was shutting down. and they were $54, and she had to use cash. So I took the $54 out of petty cash, which leaves us $32.64. So that means that we have $16,893.83, and a GIC of $10,377.90, which gives us a total of $27,271.73.
Good, excellent.
What are running expenses for a year usually about, Donna? Like just for hydro and heat and that?
Oh, you're asking me that. I didn't bring all that information with me, but I'd say
Just ballpark.
probably 3,500 or 4,000.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments on that from anyone? 27,000 seems pretty good to me. So, you know, under the circumstances, I think you're, yeah, that sounds good to me. All right. Hearing no comments. Number 7, facilities. So well, I mentioned about the facility review, the accessibility review. So nothing's going on there. Any other issues with the facility that anyone has? The hall?
No.
No? All right, good stuff. Number 8, events. Are there any events? I know the hall's not open right now, but is there anything going on at all?
No, everything's being canceled for this year, like the literary festival and all that. They've canceled all of that.
Okay.
And what about the bouncy girls?
That's not an event.
Okay.
Okay.
Where
But
does that fit in?
Do they still use the hall though, even though, or like?
Well, no, but I figured that would be covered in the new business discussing the opening.
Okay.
Okay, that's all right. So speaking of new business, let's get to it now then, the reopening. So I don't really, I'll be honest with you, I don't really know a whole lot here. So I'm gonna let Kayla jump in wherever she needs to. But anyone want to start off the discussion on the reopening?
Well, I think Jansen, she had said on her last email, with not being here, she said, my thoughts on reopening are this: I'm happy to open to whomever, but I think the onus of cleaning has to be on the renter for now until we work out a permanent cleaning solution, which I think we would be wise to do. I think we could come up with a comprehensive cleaning checklist for a renter to complete before they go. Plus, I think we should add a damage deposit that we can cash in on if the place isn't clean to our standards. And I think that brings up a whole can of worms myself. Like, first of all, who's going to do the checking? I'm sure the township has something in place for COVID cleaning where you have to meet a certain standard. Don't know. Is that correct?
You know, Kayla, on that?
If you're opening a public facility?
So if you're opening a public facility, Amanda Murray has the toolkit to better assist with regards to that. It outlines the provincial and health unit standards and guidelines surrounding it.
Yeah.
Essentially, the onus is put on the renter. So what Amanda and Terry are hoping for is that a plan that's following the guidelines is prepared by the renter to indicate the steps and measures that they will be taking to ensure that those standards and guidelines are met. The onus will then fall on them. They will need to ensure that contact tracing is maintained so that they have contact information and who attended their class readily available should an outbreak occur or have occurred and one of those persons has been affected. We can then contact everyone else. As for cleaning standards, there are certain products that you can use. Some hall boards are hiring out the cleaning position, and they're finding a difficult time finding somebody who can fill that void, just because now we require WSIB and insurance. But if a hall board member continues to clean the facility, it should be adequate to clean it before and after. And again, to put the onus on the renter to ensure that the bathroom is held to the certain standards and guidelines as outlined in the toolkit. And I can provide the board with a copy of that toolkit if you'd like.
And
Are any other halls?
I was going to ask, are the products supplied by the township, these products that are required?
So the township will supply a hand sanitizer, the automatic dispenser for the hand sanitizer, face masks, markings for the floor, plexiglass if it's needed. I don't imagine the Dunedin hall will need plexiglass. I don't see food service being of high importance right now. I'm just kind of going with the fact that you want the bouncy girls back in. As for cleaning,
for me, it's two separate issues. I would like to just rent to the bouncy girls and forget about everybody else.
I agree with you, Claire.
For me, it's two separate issues. If we open the hall entirely and start taking booking for events, that's a whole different thing. Having the bouncy girls in, we don't really have to worry because they're the only people in. They've already said they'll do all their own cleaning and everything, and we don't have to worry about get ready for anybody else coming in. And they will be in there for a good, 8 months. So,
yeah,
so for me, it's two different issues.
And that's completely fair. We've had other hall boards do the same, limit their rentals to certain groups that have provided, their sort of plan. And it's just a quick overview. This is what we're going to do before. This is what we're going to do after to ensure that the facility is cleaned or what they use has been sufficiently clean and sanitized. So hall boards have actually passed motions to say only allow the bouncy girls at their facility.
So are most of the halls opening up in a small way to specific, or I'll put it this way, are all the halls opening up?
No, not all of the halls are opening
Okay.
up. We actually have a couple that have passed resolutions to remain closed for the time being. Some of
Okay.
them have just said, nope, we're not opening up. There's our resolution. Others have said, we are passing a resolution to remain closed at this time, and they're going on a month-by-month basis. So at each of their monthly meetings, they revisit that and decide, dependent on where the health unit standards and guidelines are at, if they're comfortable to open at that time. So there's no pressure. It's whatever the board is comfortable with. You are the volunteers and you're the ones operating these facilities, and the township really respects that and really appreciates the work that you do on behalf of the township, and they're not going to overstep you in any way. So if you say, no, we're deciding to remain closed at this time, we're not going to hold a town hall meeting at your hall. Your facility is closed, and we will continue to respect that. Does that answer your question?
Well, I like Claire. Go ahead. Hello?
Did that answer your question?
Oh, I thought you were going to speak, Judy.
Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead, Judy.
I was going to say, I agree with Claire. Let's just open to the bouncy girls and then leave it closed to everybody else.
Can I make a suggestion?
That would be my because I think if we start doing events, like who's going to be checking the hall for cleanliness? You've got to get this damage deposit, and then you've got to return the damage deposit. And I just think it's opening a whole big can of worms. I have had a couple of inquiries, and they want like Christmas Day to put a family in there for their dinner because they don't have enough to do social distancing in their home. So, but then you've got to make sure it's clean before they go in, and then you've got to make sure it's clean when they leave, and all you're getting is $100. And if you have to, you know,
Is it
I'm
worth
not
it?
about to. Yeah, I'm not about to go in over Christmas and clean. I don't want to do any cleaning at all with this COVID thing going on. So I think we'd have to hire cleaners or checkers, or I don't know. I think the bouncy girls are easy. They're the only ones in there, so we know all the girls that are in the class, and we don't, you know. Allison, who is in charge of it, is taking full responsibility. She said she'd even wash the floors after each, like disinfect the floors after each class. So,
Well, that's pretty good.
Can I ask Kayla a question for you, if you don't mind then? So if they only allow the bouncy girls in there, and that's fine, I agree with that. But is there some way that we can do the motion such that it only be the bouncy girls? However, like what if somebody else comes along and it's going to be a hell of a good deal? Are we restricting ourselves that then having to say no to them, or can we have some flexibility? That's what I'm getting at. So just the bouncy girls and everyone else on a case-by-case basis, or what do you think?
I personally just think the bouncy girls, because once you start opening it up for all these one-offs, who's looking after it? It's not going to be me.
Right. No, all I was getting at is, let's say that the township wanted to come along and say, and I'm just using this as an extreme example, but let's say they came along and said, hey, you know, we'd like to have a meeting in there, and we'll pay you $5,000, and we'll do all the cleaning ourselves. You know,
Yeah,
like
I think that's different. Like coming from the township, sure, and for $5,000, sure, because it's coming from the township, and you know all the ins and outs, and you're going to have to adhere to township protocol. Joe Blow from down the road doesn't have to do that, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
anyway,
if
you just want to have the motion for the bouncy girls, I'm fine with that. You know, and there's no problem. Yeah.
So
Donna,
just
what do you say?
I think bouncy girls, but if, I think this should be open so that we can make another decision if we can come up with that for some reason. If for some reason we decide that we want to do something different, then it should be open to be able to do that. But I can't say that right now. I think the bouncy girls is the only way.
Yeah, I mean, it's open for discussion later on for the next time. I mean, we can open it up entirely at any time, right? But this is for now, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yep, so just to clarify, there's quite a bit of flexibility. So should something arise, you're more than welcome to call a meeting, talk with the group, set the parameters for the standard and guidelines that they're to follow. And we can have another meeting and you can open it up to another group if you feel comfortable at that time. I mean, this pandemic's been changing like rapidly. So, I mean, what we set today could be very different in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
Right.
So right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been writing down a couple motions just to kind of capture the conversation here. And the one I have that sticks out to me is a motion to approve opening the hall to the Bouncy Girls rental group beginning on whatever date it is that you want them to start, in accordance with provincial and health unit standards and guidelines.
That sounds good to me. Yep.
Yeah, and you're sending a copy of that I can pass on to Allison.
Absolutely. Right. What date did they want to start, or what date are you willing to allow them in?
It goes by weather, so depending how September goes, but usually it's around the end of September, 1st of October, and they stay in there until the weather's nice again and they can move outdoors.
All right, so would you be comfortable of setting a date of September 19th? That's this Saturday, but it just means that the hall's ready to allow that group to come in.
Yeah, I think she sent me the date actually. But yeah, that would be good. We could, here she is here. She says, late September to April
Okay.
or May, 2 nights a week at the same time frame. So I'm thinking this weekend's probably still going to be okay for outside. So let's go for the the week of the 27th.
Okay. All right. So again, I'll just reiterate the motion, and if somebody wants to put it forth, that would be great. A motion to approve opening the hall to Bouncy Girls Rental Group beginning September 27th to May 2020 in accordance with provincial and health unit standards and guidelines.
I move that.
And that's
I
Judy?
seconded. That was Claire.
Oh, Claire.
Okay.
And Judy seconded.
And Judy will second.
And everyone in favor then? Say aye.
Yes. Aye.
All right, I sound like it was unanimous, so that's good. So any other new business? No?
No.
No. One thing I would like to see is a sign. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there is a Parks and Rec bylaw that there's no motorized vehicles allowed in parks. And we've had a lot of cars in the park lately. And I'd like to see something, I mean, it's okay for the local people, but we've had a lot of tourists going in there. And that stretch of, you know, where the gravel is getting further and further and further of getting tire marks. They've been driving up to where the playground is. We're going to end up with, either having to fix that all the way up to the playground, with, you know, because it's getting to the point where ruts could start soon, and actually it has started in a few areas. So maybe if we have something with permit only or something and give a permit to the local people. I don't know, because local people don't really drive around in the park. They will often just, you know, pull in or whatever and then walk into the park. But I don't know. It's something to think about for the future to discuss, because it is getting to the point where, you know, when we get rain and that and the cars go in, they rip the grass right up. So
I'll go and have a look at that tomorrow, just so I'm aware of what you're talking about. And then what I will do is I'll talk to Terry and see if that can be done. How's that sound? I'll bring you a report back at the next meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah, even if we had a please no motor vehicles, you know, or something like that, just to sort of stop it a bit.
Yeah. I know we did that up in Singhampton. They were having a problem with ATVs up there ripping around their community park, and so we put I think just the no motorized vehicles allowed sign up. I don't know if it did any good or not, but
or even a sign, no cars past the gravel, or, you know, no motorized vehicles past the gravel or something, because we will have to do, I think a few years ago, we had to get a whole bunch of gravel dumped in there. It used to be all grass, but as more and more people keep driving in, right, it just...
So just for my own clarity then, so the park, is that run by the community of Dunedin, or is that part of the Dunedin Hall, or is that a municipal, or like who's in charge of that park? Is it the township?
Donna, it's the township, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because I sort of get confused sometimes, because like I say, I know up in Singhampton, their community park is, you know, it's basically they do their own thing up there. Even when I asked that this no motorized vehicles sign be put up, you know, Terry said, well, that we don't really have authority over that, but he still put the sign up anyway, and such. So anyway, yeah, I'll talk to Terry, and but I'll go and have a look at it either today or tomorrow. Yeah, probably tomorrow, and then I'll talk to Terry, and I'll have a report for you at the next meeting.
Yeah, great. Well, like I
Thank
say,
you.
it's just a thought to save money down the road, you know?
Sure, yeah, no, exactly, yeah, no, I agree. All right, any other new business that anyone wants to bring up? Okay, that
No,
sounds
I'm good.
good. So the next meeting will be at the call of the chair, so we'll let Jen look after that. And then now we have an adjournment. So recommendation, be it resolved that the Dunedin Community Center Board meeting be adjourned at 3:37 PM. Do I have a mover and seconder for that?
Great. I'll move it.
Okay. And
And I just,
somebody else.
Kayla, are you sending me those things soon or to everybody?
Yep, I can send it to everybody.
Okay, great. And then I can pass it on to Allison and let her know that it's a go. Okay?
Yep, and when you receive this toolkit package, you can click on the table of contents and it will take you directly to the part that you want to look at.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yep.
we're all good then? So we have a mover and a seconder on the adjournment, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Well, it was good seeing you again, ladies.